Close your eyes and let the familiar fade to nothing. Something older, stranger, and more beautiful takes its place. Tonight we explore the ancient landscape of Antarctica, when forests covered the continent. Let the ages dissolve around you. Sink gently into your pillow. The modern world can wait until morning. Let your eyelids grow pleasantly heavy. This is Forgotten Habitats. Let us begin. Close your eyes and let the present moment dissolve. We are traveling back across 100 million years to a land that exists now only in the deep stone. This is a place of memory where the frozen white of the south was once a kingdom of emerald and deep shadow. The atmosphere is thick with the scent of damp earth and crushed needles. It is a humid haze that clings to the skin, carrying the fragrance of resin and blooming cycads. Here at the bottom of the globe, the sun does not set for months at a time. It circles the horizon in a low, golden loop, casting long violet shadows across the forest floor. Beneath the towering canopy of podocarps and monkey puzzle trees, the ground is a soft carpet of moss and liverworts. Every step would sink into the sodden loam, releasing the smell of decay and new growth. This is a primordial realm where the pulse of life is slow and deliberate. Listen to the low murmur of a nearby stream. The current moves over smooth volcanic stones, weaving through the roots of giant ferns. It is a gentle vibration, a constant note in the symphony of the woods. The flow is cool and clear, reflecting the amber light of the perpetual afternoon. A small creature, no larger than a fox, stirs in the undergrowth. This is a Lialinosaura, a dinosaur built for the dimness of the polar woods. Its eyes are large and dark, designed to gather every stray glimmer of light. It moves with a quiet grace, its tail held high as it searches for tender shoots among the horsetails. The creature pauses, its head tilted, listening to the sigh of the wind in the high branches. The breeze carries the salt of a distant sea and the faint heat of a volcanic vent. It is a peaceful existence, lived in the cradle of a greenhouse world. The Lialinosaura nibbles on a succulent leaf, its movements rhythmic and calm. Above, the canopy is a mosaic of deep greens and rusty browns. The Araucaria branches stretch out like skeletal arms, draped in lichen and climbing vines. There is no rush here, no urgency in the way the wood grows or the way the seasons turn. Time is measured by the slow accumulation of fallen needles. In a clearing, a massive Antarctopelta moves like a living fortress. Its back is armored with bone plates and small spikes, a testament to the dangers that once roamed these woods. It ignores the smaller inhabitants, focused only on the low-lying shrubs. It grinds between its teeth. The crunch of vegetation is the only noise it makes. The light shifts, turning from gold to a bruised plum as the sun dips toward the edge of the mountains. These peaks, the Transantarctic range, are jagged and dark, free from the weight of glaciers. They stand as silent sentinels over a landscape that will one day be lost to the ice. For now they are home to forests that stretch to the very edge of the sea. Near the bank of a wide river, the mud is pressed with the tracks of giants. An iguanodontid has passed this way, its three-toed prints filling with the slow seepage of the tide. The river is broad and slow, carrying silt from the interior toward the Southern Ocean. It is a vein of life cutting through the dense green heart of the continent. A dragonfly with a wingspan of several inches hovers over the lip of the bank. Its wings are like iridescent glass, catching the fading glow of the sky. It darts and then hangs still, a tiny spark of motion in the quiet afternoon. The humid haze dampens the noise of its flight, turning it into a faint hum. Deep within a hollow log, a small mammal, covered in soft fur, curls into a tight ball. It is waiting for the dimness to deepen before it ventures out to scavenge. This is a world of transitions, where the line between day and night is blurred for half the year. The mammal breathes, a tiny, steady measure of the forest's life. The scent of the woods changes as the temperature drops. Just a few degrees. The smell of wet stone and cold mud becomes more prominent as the floral notes of the cycads fade. It is a crispness that speaks of the coming winter, the long months of shadow that define this polar home. Yet the woods do not fear the cold, for they are adapted to the cycle of the light. High above, a pterosaur glides on the rising thermals of the cooling land. Its silhouette is a sharp cross against the pale violet of the sky. It does not flap its wings, but simply holds them wide, letting the atmosphere carry it toward the coast. From its height, the forest is a sea of green, broken only by the silver ribbons of the rivers. The stillness is profound. It is not the silence of a vacuum, but the quiet of a place that is full and satisfied. The trees do not move, and the animals have found their places of rest. Even the river seems to quiet as it enters a long, straight stretch of the valley. In the shallows, a group of lungfish bury themselves in the silt. They are prepared for the changes in the flow that the seasons will bring. The mud is a warm blanket, protecting them from the world above. They wait in a state of suspended animation, their hearts beating only a few times a minute. The reflections on the skin of the pond are perfect. The ginkgo trees with their fan-shaped leaves are mirrored in the black depths of the pool. A single leaf turns from yellow to brown and detaches itself from the branch. It drifts down, a slow spinning descent, until it touches the face of the water. A ripple spreads, small and delicate, distorting the image of the sky. It is the only movement in the clearing, a tiny event in the immemorial life of the forest. The leaf begins to sink, joining the layers of history that lie at the bottom of the pool. There, it will be turned to coal or stone, a message for a future yet to come. As the half-light takes hold, the bioluminescence of certain fungi begins to glow. Faint patches of blue and ghost white appear on the rotting logs and the trunks of the trees. They are like fallen stars scattered across the floor of the woods. This soft radiance guides the nocturnal creatures on their secret paths. The shadow of the mountains finally reaches the river. The warmth of the day is gone, replaced by a cool, refreshing breath that moves through the ferns. It is a moment of peace, a time for the land to rest and prepare for the long journey into the dark. The forest remains a resilient bastion of life at the end of the world. Moving further into the valley, the trees grow taller, their roots interlocking in a complex web of support. Deep within this subterranean weave, the earth holds a steady warmth, a lingering heat from the volcanic veins that pulse far below. The soil is rich and dark, smelling of crushed needles and the sweet fermented tang of fallen fruit. Above the canopy forms a cathedral of needles where the wind speaks in a low morning whistle. It is a place of deep endurance where every branch and every leaf is a testament to the persistence of the green. This forest does not merely exist at the edge of the world. It thrives in the delicate balance between the geothermal heat and the polar chill. A small feathered hunter, an imperobiter, moves with a grace that is almost liquid. Its talons make no noise on the damp moss as it navigates the labyrinth of the understory. The creature's eyes, large and sensitive, gather every stray photon of the violet twilight. It is not looking for a meal, but for a place of safety. As the temperature continues its slow downward march, the dinosaur pauses, its head tilting as it listens to the deep, resonant groans of the shifting glaciers in the distance. It is a sound of the earth moving in its sleep, a reminder of the ice that waits just beyond the tree line. The ferns here are as tall as the trees of other lands, their fronds uncurling like the crooks of a shepherd's staff. They are coated in a fine silver dew that catches the light of the rising moon. Beneath their shade, the atmosphere is still and saturated with the scent of ozone and wet earth. Every breath is a draught of primordial history, cool and refreshing to the lungs. The silence is thick, broken only by the occasional heavy drop of moisture falling from a height to the sodden floor. It is a slow, methodical drip that marks the passage of the night with a liquid precision. Further down the slope, a thermal spring bubbles gently, releasing plumes of steam that drift through the conifers. The heat creates a microclimate, a small pocket of summer in the heart of the cooling woods. Here the mosses are a vibrant emerald green, thriving in the constant humid embrace of the earth's breath. The flow of the spring creates a tiny stream that carves a path through the black volcanic sand. The steam clings to the trunks of the monkey puzzle trees, softening their jagged outlines into ghostly shapes. It is a sanctuary of warmth, where the frost cannot bite, and the life of the tropics persists in the shadow of the pole. An Antarctopelta, its hide armored with bony plates, rests near the edge of the warm flow. Its breathing is a slow, measured pulse that vibrates in the damp ground. The creature is a living fortress, unmoved by the shifting shadows or the calls of the night. It has found a sanctuary where the cold cannot reach, and it rests with a profound and quiet dignity. Its tail, tipped with a heavy defensive club, lies half buried in the warm mud. This animal is a remnant of a lineage that has seen the world change, yet it remains a steady presence in the landscape. The stars pierce the velvet curtain of the sky, appearing one by one in the gaps between the clouds. They are unfamiliar constellations, the celestial map of a time before the continents had found their modern homes. The light they cast is thin and cold, reflecting off the glaciers that crown the distant, jagged peaks. Those mountains are the silent sentinels of the south, watching over the forest with a stony, indifferent gaze. The air at that altitude is thin and sharp, a stark contrast to the humid, weighted atmosphere of the valley floor. Below, the forest is a dark, breathing entity, a sea of life in a world of ice and fire. In the high branches of a podocarp, a colony of small, tree-dwelling mammals stirs. They are bundles of fur and nervous energy, their whiskers twitching at the scent of the night. They move with a frantic yet silent agility, leaping from branch to branch in the half-light. Their world is one of vertical complexity, a maze of bark and lichen far above the forest floor. They feed on the seeds of the conifers, their tiny teeth making a faint, scratching noise that is lost in the wind. To them, the forest is a boundless universe, a place of infinite levels and hidden treasures. The river below has widened into a delta, where the current slows and the silt settles into the depths. The channel is a mirror for the aurora that now begins to dance across the southern horizon. Ribbons of green and shimmering violet twist and fold in the upper atmosphere, a silent symphony of light. The reflection on the face of the stream is a distorted, ever-changing tapestry of color. The water here is deep and black, hiding the movements of the large fish that cruise the bottom. It is a slow, powerful flow that carries the essence of the mountains to the sea. A group of Leolinosaura, their tails, long and counterbalancing, move through the shallows. They are looking for the tender shoots of horsetails that grow along the muddy banks. Their large eyes are well adapted to this world of perpetual dusk, allowing them to find food where others would see only shadow. They chirp to one another, a soft, bird-like noise that is lost in the murmur of the flow. They are social creatures, finding comfort in the presence of their kind as the darkness deepens. Their movements are quick and bird-like, a dance of survival in the cooling mud. The scent of sulfur drifts on a stray breeze, a reminder of the tectonic forces that shaped this land. Far to the north, a volcano pulses with a dull red glow, a heartbeat of fire in the dark. The ash it releases falls like a grey snow, coating the leaves and the stones in a fine, gritty powder. It is the price of the warmth, a constant dusting of the Earth's inner fire. This ash, though thin, is rich in minerals, feeding the forest and ensuring that the next generation of trees will be strong. It is a cycle of destruction and rebirth that has played out for millions of years. In a sheltered hollow, a giant amphibian, a relic of an older age, waits in the mud. Its skin is mottled and damp, blending perfectly with the rotting vegetation of the swamp. It does not move, its golden eyes fixed on the surface of the pool. It is a master of patience, a creature that measures time in seasons rather than minutes. The heat of the thermal spring reaches even here, keeping the water from freezing and allowing the amphibian to remain active through the night. It is a survivor of a time when the world was much warmer, a living link to the past. The forest floor is a mosaic of life and decay, where the fallen giants of the past provide a home for the future. Fungi of every shape and hue sprout from the decaying wood, their gills releasing clouds of spores into the atmosphere. Some are broad and flat like shelves, while others are delicate and translucent like glass. They are the recyclers of the woods, turning death into the building blocks of new growth. A soft bioluminescent glow emanates from some of these fungi, creating a map of light on the dark floor. It is a quiet, hidden world that only reveals itself when the sun has set. A gentle wind moves through the valley, carrying the sound of the distant ocean. It is a low, rhythmic thrum, the pulse of the tide hitting the rocky shores of the Antarctic peninsula. The forest responds with a sigh, a collective movement of a million leaves and needles. It is a conversation between the land and the sea, a dialogue that has continued for immemorial ages. The salt in the air mixes with the scent of the pine, creating a fragrance that is both fresh and age-old. It is the breath of a continent that is still and full of life. The shadows are long now, stretching out like dark fingers across the terrain. They swallow the ferns and the rocks, leaving only the tallest peaks of the trees in the light. The transition is slow and deliberate, a gradual easing into the deep rest of the night. There is no urgency in this change, only a natural and expected progression. The creatures of the day have found their nests, and the creatures of the night have taken their place. It is a shift of the guard, a change in the tempo of the woods. High above, the pterosaurs have found their roosts on the high cliffs overlooking the woods. They fold their leathery wings, tucking their heads against the chill of the high-altitude atmosphere. Their silhouettes are sharp against the stars, a final reminder of the world above the canopy. Below them, the forest is a dark, breathing entity, a sea of life in a world of ice and fire. They wait for the first light of the sun to warm the air and lift them back into the sky. Until then, they are part of the stillness of the night. The mud at the edge of the river preserves the footprints of a passing sauropod. Each depression is a small pond where the insects dance and the light of the moon is trapped. These tracks are a record of a journey, a path taken through the heart of the wilderness. They will remain until the next rain or the next tide washes them away back into the earth. They are a fleeting mark on a landscape that is constantly being reshaped by the forces of nature. Each step is a story written in the silt of the riverbank. A single large conifer stands on a rocky outcrop, its roots gripping the stone with a fierce tenacity. It has survived 100 winters, and its bark is thick and scarred by the elements. It is a monument to survival, a lone figure against the backdrop of the shimmering aurora. The tree does not sway but stands firm, a silent witness to the passage of time. Its needles are dark and waxy, designed to hold onto moisture in the dry polar air. It is a king of the forest, ruling over its domain with a quiet and enduring strength. The atmosphere is now thick with the smell of damp pine and the cold metallic scent of the mountains. The birds have long since gone to ground, their songs replaced by the creak of the wood and the hiss of the steam. It is a time for reflection, a moment to appreciate the scale and the beauty of this long-vanished place. The forest is a place of mystery, where every shadow holds a lore and every breath is a gift. The stars above are the same stars that will watch over the future, long after the trees are gone. As the deep night takes hold, the bioluminescence of the fungi becomes more intense. The forest floor is transformed into a glowing map of blue and green and white. It is a hidden world revealed only when the sun is gone, a secret garden of light. The creatures of the night move through this radiance, their forms blurred and ghostly in the soft glow. This light is a guide, a way to navigate the complex terrain of the understory. It is a beauty that is born from the darkness, a light that does not need the sun. The river continues its journey toward the sea, a silver thread in the tapestry of the landscape. It carries with it the stories of the forest, the leaves, the silt, and the memories of the land. The flow is constant and unhurried, a measure of the eternal in a world of change. It is the lifeblood of the valley, the connection between the mountains and the deep blue ocean. Moving toward the coastal fringes, the trees begin to thin, making way for the salt-touched air of the plains. The atmosphere is filled with the sharp, biting scent of the salt and the damp earth. The landscape stretches out toward the horizon, where the sky meets the brine. This era is one of transition, where the warmth of the interior meets the cooling influence of the sea. The tide pulls at the silt of the river mouth, creating a soft sucking noise in the silence. Here, the ground is covered in a thick carpet of salt-tolerant ferns and low, creeping vines. These plants are hardy, their leaves small and waxy, to withstand the constant spray of the ocean. In the dimness of the twilight, they appear as dark patches against the pale sand of the dunes. The wind moves through them with a gentle, whispering hiss that mimics the movement of the waves. Further inland, a group of small, feathered ornithopods find shelter in the lee of a large, weathered rock. These creatures, known as Trinisaura, are no larger than a small dog, their bodies covered in a dense, insulating layer of downy feathers. They huddle close together, their heads tucked under their tails to conserve the warmth of their bodies. Their breath rises in tiny pale plumes that vanish into the cooling night breeze. They are quiet, their senses tuned to the subtle vibrations of the earth and the calls of the wind. In this place, safety is found, in the shadows and the stillness. The large predators of the forest rarely venture this far toward the exposed coastal plains, for now these small travelers are safe, resting until the return of the pale polar sun. Beyond the dunes, the sea is a dark, churning expanse of indigo and silver. There is no ice in this era, only the restless movement of the tide and the spray of the waves. The ocean is alive with its own secret patterns of light and motion. Below the lip of the waves, large marine reptiles glide through the depths, their forms long and elegant in the murk. An elasmosaurus, its neck stretching out like a serpent, breaks the skin of the brine to take a single deep breath. The noise is a soft, wet splash that is quickly swallowed by the roar of the surf. It lingers for a moment, its large, dark eye reflecting the light of the distant stars. Then, with a graceful flick of its flippers, it disappears back into the cold embrace of the deep. Along the shoreline, the spray of the ocean leaves a fine dusting of salt on everything it touches. The rocks are slick and black, their faces worn smooth by millions of years of erosion. In the crevices, small crustaceans and mollusks cling to the stone, their lives governed by the ebb and flow of the tide. This is a place of constant change, where the land and the sea are forever at odds. In the distance, the peaks of the Antarctic peninsula rise like jagged teeth against the sky. They are illuminated by the soft green glow of the aurora, which dances across the heavens in shimmering curtains of light. The mountains are home to active volcanoes, their vents glowing with a faint orange heat. This fire from within the earth provides a stark contrast to the chill of the polar night. Plumes of steam rise from the volcanic slopes, carrying with them the smell of sulfur and ash. This heat creates microclimates where the vegetation is lush and green, even in the heart of winter. It is a reminder that the Earth is a living, breathing entity with its own internal pulse. The mountains are the backbone of this place, a barrier between the forest and the sea. Moving back toward the edge of the woods, the ground becomes more stable and firm. Here the first of the large trees begin to appear, their trunks twisted and gnarled by the coastal winds. These are the sentinels of the forest, the brave pioneers that mark the boundary between the two worlds. Their roots are deep and strong, anchoring them to the primordial soil. Among these trees, a lone Antarctopelta moves with a slow, deliberate measure. This armored dinosaur is a tank of the Cretaceous, its back covered in bony plates and spikes. It is a solitary creature, content to spend its life wandering the edges of the forest in search of soft ferns to graze upon. Its footsteps are a series of low, muffled thuds that vibrate through the damp earth. It stops to sniff the atmosphere, its nostrils flaring as it catches the scent of wood smoke and damp moss. The Antarctopelta is not bothered by the cold, its thick skin and slow metabolism, making it well suited for this environment. It is a relic of a time when the earth was warmer and the forests stretched from pole to pole. It moves with a quiet dignity, a king of its own small domain. As the night deepens, the aurora becomes more intense, its colors shifting from green to purple and gold. The light is reflected in the small pools of brine that litter the coastal flats. These ponds are miniature ecosystems teeming with life that is invisible to the naked eye. They are a mirror of the sky, a connection between the heavens and the earth. In the mudflats, the tracks of a large theropod are visible in the moonlight. These footprints are deep and sharp, indicating that the hunter passed this way not long ago. It was likely a Nanoxaurus, a polar cousin of the great Tyrannosaurus, its body adapted for the long nights of the south. The predator is gone now, but its presence still hangs in the atmosphere, a silent threat in the shadows. The silence of the coast is broken by the occasional cry of a nocturnal bird or the distant rumble of a landslide. These noises are part of the measure of the landscape, the heartbeat of a place that is never truly at rest. The wind continues its journey across the plains, carrying the stories of the sea to the heart of the forest. It is a messenger, a bridge between the different parts of this immense ecosystem. Near a small freshwater lagoon, a group of pterosaurs rest on the branches of a fallen tree. Their wings are folded tight against their bodies, their long beaks tucked into their chest. Feathers. They are the masters of the sky, but here on the ground they are vulnerable, and still they wait for the first light of dawn to take to the atmosphere once again. The water in the lagoon is still and clear, reflecting the stars like a sheet of glass. A small mammal, similar to a modern opossum, creeps down to the edge to drink. It is quick and nervous, its large ears twitching at every noise. This tiny creature is a survivor, a testament to the resilience of life in even the most extreme conditions. It finishes its drink and scurries back into the safety of the undergrowth, its long tail trailing behind it. The lagoon returns to its state of perfect stillness, a sanctuary of peace in the middle of the wilderness. The trees that surround it are tall and stately, their branches reaching toward the heavens like the pillars of a cathedral. As the segment nears its end, the focus shifts back toward the deep interior of the woods. The coastal breeze fades, replaced by the humid, weighted atmosphere of the forest floor. The transition is gradual, a slow fading of one world into another. The light of the aurora is filtered through the canopy, creating a soft, dappled effect on the mossy ground. This is a place of enduring beauty where the cycles of life and death play out in a timeless, measured cadence. Every leaf, every stone, and every breath is a part of the larger story of this long-vanished continent. The forest is a living archive of the past, a memory of a time when Antarctica was a green and vibrant land. We move deeper into the heart of the wood, where the oldest trees wait in the emerald shadow. Deep in the interior of this polar forest, the atmosphere is still and weighted with the scent of resin and damp moss. The trees here are giants, their trunks wider than a dozen men standing arm to arm. They are the podocarps and the araucaria, the ancient kings of this southern realm. Their branches are thick with needle-like leaves that remain green even in the long months of winter. The canopy is a dense roof that shields the forest floor from the cold of the sky. Below the earth is a soft carpet of liverworts and ferns that grow in the emerald shadow. A small group of ornithopods, known as Trinisaura, move through the ferns with a quiet grace. These creatures are no larger than a modern deer, their bodies covered in a layer of insulating feathers. They are the foragers of the undergrowth, their large eyes searching for the tender shoots of plants. Their movements are slow and deliberate, a measure of the calm that pervades this place. They communicate with soft chirps that are lost in the murmur of the trees. The light of the aurora dances above the canopy, casting a faint green glow on the forest floor. Nearby, a massive Antarctopelta rests, its armored back resembling a mossy mound of stone. This ankylosaur is a solitary creature, a living fortress in a landscape of giants. Its breathing is a low pulse that vibrates in the humid atmosphere, a sign of a life at rest. The jagged spikes along its sides are a reminder of the dangers that exist even in this peaceful place. It has lived for many seasons wandering the valleys and ridges of this vast continent. Now it finds sanctuary in the shadow of the great trees, its eyes closed against the dim light. The forest floor is a world of its own, a place where the cycles of life are visible in every leaf and twig. Insects with iridescent wings flutter through the ferns, their movements a blur of color in the half-light. They are the pollinators of this primordial ecosystem, the tiny workers that keep the forest alive. The soil is rich and fertile, a mixture of volcanic ash and organic matter that has accumulated over millions of years. It is the foundation of this green empire, the source of all growth and life. Every stone is covered in a layer of lichen, a testament to the persistence of life in the cold. A stream flows through the heart of the wood, its path carved by the meltwater of distant glaciers. The current is gentle, carrying fallen needles and bits of bark toward the lower valleys. The bank of the stream is lined with smooth pebbles and clusters of water-loving plants. Here, the atmosphere is cooler, a refreshing change from the humid depths of the forest. A small mammal, similar to a modern shrew, scurries across the rocks, its nose twitching at the scent of the water. It is a creature of the shadows, a survivor in a world of giants. The trees that line the stream are older than any others in the forest, their roots reaching deep into the cool earth. They have survived the shifting of the continents and the changing of the climate, their resilience a miracle of nature. Their bark is thick and furrowed, a home for countless small organisms that live in the crevices. The branches are draped with moss that hangs like long green hair in the still atmosphere. This is a place of enduring beauty, where the past and the present coexist in a timeless measure. As we move further into the interior, the terrain becomes more rugged, with steep ridges and deep ravines. The forest remains dense, but the types of trees begin to change, with more hardy species appearing on the higher slopes. These are the survivors of the cold, their forms twisted by the wind and the snow. They are the sentinels of the mountains, the guardians of the high places. The light of the stars is brighter, here, reflecting off the snow-capped peaks that rise in the distance. The silence is profound, broken only by the occasional creak of a branch. In a sheltered valley, a group of large herbivorous dinosaurs are gathered for the night. They are the Elesmerians, their long necks reaching for the leaves of the taller trees. They move with a slow, measured tempo, their heavy footsteps muffled by the soft ground. Their bodies are large and powerful, a testament to the abundance of food in this southern paradise. They are the masters of the valley, their presence a sign of a healthy and vibrant ecosystem. They graze in the dim light, their movements, a part of the natural cadence of the landscape. The atmosphere in the valley is calm and peaceful, a sanctuary from the wind that blows across the ridges. The trees provide shelter and warmth, their presence a comfort to the animals that live in their shadow. The light of the aurora is visible through the branches, a dancing curtain of green and purple light. It is a sight of incredible beauty, a reminder of the connection between the earth and the heavens. The animals seem to sense the magic of the moment, their movements slowing as they watch the sky. A small predator, an imperabator, watches from the edge of the clearing, its eyes glowing in the half-light. It is a hunter of the night, its body built for speed and agility in the dense undergrowth. It does not move, its focus on the herbivores in the valley, its patience a sign of its skill. It is a part of the balance of nature, the force that keeps the ecosystem in check. It waits for the right moment, its breathing shallow and quiet in the still atmosphere. The forest is a place of life and death, a stage for the eternal drama of survival. The ground in the valley is covered in a layer of fallen leaves that provide a home for many small creatures. Beetles and other insects crawl through the litter, their movements a faint rustle in the silence. They are the recyclers of the forest, breaking down the organic matter and returning the nutrients to the soil. This process is essential for the health of the trees, a vital link in the chain of life. The forest is a complex web of connections, where every organism has a role to play. It is a system of perfect balance, a masterpiece of evolution. As the night progresses, the temperature drops and a fine mist begins to form in the low-lying areas. It drifts through the trees like a ghost, obscuring the forest floor and creating a sense of mystery. The light of the aurora is filtered through the mist, creating a soft, ethereal glow that fills the valley. The sounds of the forest are muffled by the damp atmosphere, creating a sense of isolation and peace. This is a time of rest for the creatures of the wood, a moment to recharge for the day ahead. The mist clings to the leaves of the ferns, forming tiny droplets of water that sparkle like diamonds. These droplets are a vital source of moisture for the plants and animals of the forest, especially in the drier months. They are a reminder of the importance of the water cycle in this polar environment. The stream in the valley continues its journey, its flow, a constant reminder of the passage of time. It is a thread that connects the different parts of the landscape, a lifeline for the forest. In the distance, the mountains rise like giants, their peaks lost in the clouds. They are the source of the water that feeds the forest, their glaciers providing a constant supply of meltwater. They are also a barrier protecting the valley from the worst of the weather and creating a unique microclimate. The geology of the region is complex, with layers of rock that tell the story of millions of years of history. Every ridge and valley is a chapter in the book of the earth, a record of the changes that have shaped the world. The forest is a place of deep memory, where the spirits of the past seem to linger in the shadows. It is a landscape that has seen the rise and fall of many species, and the shifting of the continents across the globe. It is a survivor, a testament to the resilience of life in the face of change. The trees are the keepers of this memory. Their rings a record of the seasons and the years. They are the living history of this southern land, a connection to a time when the world was a different place. As we explore the deeper parts of the interior, we find a hidden lake, its surface as smooth as a mirror. The water is dark and deep, reflecting the stars and the aurora with perfect clarity. The shore is lined with tall reeds and moss-covered rocks, a peaceful sanctuary for the creatures of the forest. A group of small aquatic reptiles swim through the shallows, their movements creating gentle ripples on the face of the lake. They are the masters of the water, their bodies adapted for life in the cool depths. The atmosphere around the lake is cool and fresh, a contrast to the humid interior of the wood. The air is filled with the scent of water and damp earth, a clean and invigorating smell. The silence is absolute, broken only by the soft lapping of the water against the shore. This is a place of perfect peace, a sanctuary from the noise and activity of the forest. It is a moment of stillness in a world that is always in motion, a chance to reflect on the beauty of the landscape. The trees that surround the lake are smaller and more hardy than those in the deeper forest, their forms shaped by the wind and the cold. They are the pioneers of the shore, their roots clinging to the rocky soil. They provide shelter for the animals that live near the water, their branches a home for birds and insects. The light of the aurora is especially bright here, reflecting off the surface of the lake and creating a spectacle of color. It is a sight that few have seen, a secret of the southern interior. As the segment comes to a close, we begin to move away from the lake and back into the heart of the forest. The transition is slow and gradual as the cool air of the shore is replaced by the warmth of the woods. The trees become taller and more dense once again, their branches closing over our heads like a green canopy. The light of the aurora fades, replaced by the soft, dappled shadow of the interior. This is a place of enduring mystery, where every path leads to a new discovery. The journey through this long-vanished world continues as we move deeper into the unknown regions of the continent. The forest is a living archive of the past, a memory of a time when Antarctica was a green and vibrant land. Every leaf, every stone, and every breath is a part of the larger story of this primordial ecosystem. We follow the ancient trails of the dinosaurs through the shadows and toward the light of a new day. The heart of the forest waits for us, with more secrets to reveal in the quiet measure of the night. As we move beyond the dense, leafy corridors of the lower valley, we begin our ascent toward the basaltic ridges that form the spine of this southern land. The ground beneath our feet is carpeted in a thick layer of fallen needles and decaying fronds muffling every step. The scent of the earth is rich and loamy. Here a mixture of wet moss and the faint, sharp tang of volcanic minerals. Above, the canopy thins slightly, allowing the pale light of the moon to paint silver patterns on the forest floor. This higher elevation brings a change in the flora, as the broad-leaved trees give way to the hardy monkey puzzle trees and towering podocarps. Their branches reach toward the stars like the fingers of giants, etched against the deep indigo of the night sky. The atmosphere is thinner here, and crisp, carrying the scent of resin and cold stone. We pause to listen to the low hum of the wind as it weaves through the stiff needles of the pines, a lonely and beautiful melody. In the shadow of a large rock outcropping, a small dinosaur known as a Leolinosaura stands perfectly still. Its large, dark eyes are wide, catching every stray photon of light as it watches the forest for any sign of movement. Its coat of fine feathers is ruffled by the breeze, providing warmth against the cooling night temperatures. This creature is a specialist of the southern latitudes, adapted to thrive in the long seasons of twilight. Nearby, the slow and steady movement of an Antarctopelta creates a soft, scraping noise as its armored body brushes against the basalt. This ankylosaur is a living fortress, its back covered in bony plates and studs that glisten in the moonlight. It moves with a deliberate and measured pace, its head low to the ground as it grazes on the hardy ferns that grow in the crevices of the rocks. It is a peaceful giant, a testament to the resilience of life in this primordial realm. We continue our climb, following a narrow trail that winds along the edge of a deep ravine. Below, the shadows are absolute, a sea of velvet blackness that hides the secrets of the valley floor. The murmur of a distant waterfall rises from the depths, a constant and soothing presence in the stillness of the night. The moisture from the falls creates a thin veil of mist that hangs in the atmosphere, softening the edges of the landscape. On the rocky slopes we find patches of bioluminescent moss glowing with a soft green light. It clings to the damp stone, creating a path of living stars that guides us through the dimness. The light is cool and ethereal, casting long shadows that dance with every flicker of the breeze. It is a small but wondrous detail, a reminder of the hidden beauty that can be found in every corner of this long-vanished ecosystem. As we reach the summit of the ridge, the landscape opens up, revealing a measureless expanse of forest and mountains. The trees stretch out in every direction, a green ocean that meets the horizon under the watchful gaze of the moon. In the distance, the faint red glow of a volcanic vent can be seen, a reminder of the geological forces that shape this southern continent. The pulse of the earth is palpable here, a slow and steady beat that has continued for millions of years. The sky above is a tapestry of stars, more numerous and bright than any seen in the modern age. They twinkle with a cold and distant light, their patterns unfamiliar to our eyes as the constellations of the Cretaceous are different from our own. The aurora australis flickers on the horizon, its curtains of green and violet light dancing across the heavens. It is a spectacle of cosmic proportions, a silent symphony of light and color. We find a sheltered spot among the roots of a great podocarp tree to rest and observe the night. The wood of the tree is thick and gnarled, its bark covered in a layer of soft gray lichen. It has stood in this spot for centuries, a silent witness to the passage of time and the changing of the seasons. Its branches provide a canopy of protection, a natural sanctuary from the elements. A small mammal, no larger than a rat, scurries across the roots, its tiny claws clicking against the wood. It is a monotrematum, an early relative of the platypus, and echidna, its fur thick and waterproof. It disappears into a burrow beneath the tree, seeking the warmth and safety of its underground home. These small and humble creatures are the ancestors of a lineage that will one day inherit the world. The atmosphere is calm and still as the forest enters the deepest part of the night. The calls of the nocturnal animals have faded, replaced by the soft rustle of the wind and the distant hiss of the volcano. It is a moment of profound peace, a time to reflect on the vastness of deep time and the enduring nature of life. The landscape is at rest its cycles of growth and decay continuing in the quiet measure of the shadows. In the valley below, the flow of the river is a silver ribbon winding its way through the trees. The water is a source of life for all the creatures of the forest, a constant and unchanging presence in an ever-shifting landscape. Its journey toward the sea is a metaphor for the passage of time, a steady and inexorable movement toward the future. We watch as the moon reflects off the skin of the river, creating a path of light that leads into the unknown. The trees around us seem to breathe in the stillness, their leaves whispering secrets that only the wind can understand. They are the guardians of the forest, their presence a source of stability and strength in a world that is always in motion. Their roots reach deep into the earth, anchoring them to the land, while their branches reach toward the heavens, seeking the light. They are a bridge between the earth and the sky, a connection to the primordial forces of nature. A light mist begins to drift up from the valley floor, wrapping the trees in a soft white blanket. It obscures the details of the landscape, creating a sense of mystery and wonder. The forest becomes a world of shadows and half-light, where every shape is a potential discovery. The atmosphere is thick with the scent of damp earth and wet foliage, a clean and refreshing smell that fills our lungs. We move slowly through the mist, our steps guided by the soft glow of the bioluminescent moss. The world is quiet and muffled, as if the forest is holding its breath in anticipation of the dawn. Every sound is amplified in the stillness, the snap of a twig, the rustle of a leaf, the distant call of a bird. It is a sensory experience that is both intimate and expansive, a journey into the heart of a long-vanished world. As we descend from the ridge, the trees become taller and more dense once again. The monkey puzzle trees are replaced by the southern beech, their delicate leaves creating a fine lace against the sky. The air becomes warmer and more humid as we enter the lower reaches of the forest. The transition is gradual, a slow shift in the character of the landscape. As we move from the high ridges to the sheltered valleys, we find ourselves in a grove of ancient ferns, their fronds reaching high above our heads. They are the survivors of an even older age, their forms unchanged for millions of years. Their presence is a reminder of the continuity of life and the enduring power of nature. We walk through the grove, the soft fronds brushing against our skin like the touch of a ghost. The light of the moon is beginning to fade as the first hint of dawn appears on the horizon. The sky turns from indigo to a soft grey, the stars disappearing one by one. The forest stirs into life as the diurnal animals wake from their sleep, their calls filling the atmosphere with a new energy. It is the start of a new day in this archaic land, a continuation of the endless cycle of life. We pause to watch as the first rays of the sun touch the tops of the mountains, turning them to gold. The light creeps down the slopes, illuminating the forest and chasing away the shadows of the night. The mist begins to dissipate, revealing the beauty of the landscape in all its glory. It is a moment of profound beauty, a celebration of the return of the light. The journey through the heart of the southern forest has revealed many secrets, but many more remain to be discovered. The landscape is a living archive of the past, a memory of a time when Antarctica was a green and vibrant land. Every leaf, every stone, and every breath is a part of the larger story of this primordial ecosystem as we move forward. The path ahead is clear, leading us toward the next chapter of our journey through the deep time of the southern continent. The morning warmth expands across the valley floor, drawing the scent of resin from the towering conifers. We follow a widening track of compressed soil where the earth is stained a rich ochre. The atmosphere carries the faint tang of salt, suggesting the proximity of the Southern Ocean just beyond the horizon. Our journey takes us toward the slow pulse of a great river that carves its way through the heart of the continent. The flow is amber and clear, reflecting the overhanging canopy in its glassy depths. We watch as a small cluster of leaves drifts by, caught in a gentle eddy near the bank. The terrain here is lush and vibrant, a testament to the mild climate of this era. Ferns as tall as houses line the banks, their fronds dipping into the current with every passing breeze. The light filters through the emerald ceiling, creating a pattern of dancing shadows on the mossy ground. A group of small marsupials scurries through the undergrowth, their movements quick and purposeful. They are the ancestors of a lineage that will one day define distant lands, but here they are part of a diverse and thriving community. We pause to observe their interactions, a quiet drama of survival and adaptation. The river widens as it approaches a sprawling delta where the channel splits into a network of smaller streams. The landscape transforms into a mosaic of islands and lagoons, each with its own unique ecosystem. The atmosphere is thick with the smell of damp earth and decaying vegetation, a rich and fertile scent. We navigate the edge of a lagoon where the liquid is still and dark, mirroring the sky above. A giant flightless bird stands motionless in the shallows, its keen eyes searching for a flash of silver beneath the face of it. The creature is a formidable predator, a silent guardian of the delta. The silence is broken by the low note of a distant call, a sound that echoes through the trees. It is the voice of a creature we have yet to see, a reminder of the many mysteries that this primordial land still holds. We continue our exploration, our senses heightened by the anticipation of discovery. The sun reaches its zenith, casting a brilliant light over the entire landscape. The colors are vivid and intense, the greens of the foliage, the blues of the sky, and the browns of the earth, all blending together in a beautiful harmony. It is a moment of pure wonder, a glimpse into a world that is both alien and familiar. We find a quiet spot to rest, a mossy bank overlooking the river. The warmth of the sun is pleasant and comforting, a welcome change from the cool shadows of the forest. We listen to the murmur of the stream, a soothing cadence that lulls us into a state of deep relaxation. As we rest, we notice the intricate details of the plants around us. The leaves of the southern beech are small and delicate, their edges finely serrated. The seeds of the podocarpus are encased in a fleshy red covering, a tempting treat for the birds and mammals of the forest. This era is a time of great change and transition, a period when the continents are still moving and the climate is shifting. The forest is a living record of these changes, a testament to the resilience of life in the face of a changing world. Every tree, every leaf, and every creature has a story to tell. We resume our journey, moving deeper into the delta. The ground is soft and spongy, saturated with the moisture of the river. We walk with care, our steps muffled by the thick carpet of moss and fallen leaves. The atmosphere is cool and humid, a refreshing contrast to the heat of the sun. We encounter a grove of archaic cycads, their stiff fronds reaching toward the sky. They are the survivors of an even older age, their forms unchanged for millions of years. Their presence is a reminder of the long history of life on this continent, a story that spans back to the dawn of time. The river is alive, with activity, as fish leap from the stream and insects dance over the surface. We watch as a small reptile basks on a fallen log, its scales glistening in the sunlight. The landscape is a hive of industry, a constant cycle of birth, growth, and decay. As the afternoon progresses, the light shifts to a warm, golden hue. The shadows lengthen once again, stretching across the river and the forest. The atmosphere turns to a state of quiet contemplation as the day moves toward its end. We feel a sense of peace and tranquility, a deep connection to the natural world. We reach the edge of the delta, where the river meets the sea. The expanse of the Southern Ocean stretches out before us, its waves crashing against the shore. The air is filled with the spray of the salt liquid, a bracing and invigorating sensation. It is a moment of transition, a crossing from one world to another. We walk along the beach. The sand, a fine grey powder beneath our feet. The tide is coming in, the current washing over the shore and erasing our footprints. The ocean is a powerful and unpredictable force, a reminder of the vastness and mystery of the natural world. We find a sheltered cove where the water is calm and still. The cliffs rise high above us, their rocky faces weathered by the wind and the sea. We pause to watch as a colony of early penguins waddles across the beach, their movements awkward but determined. They are the pioneers of a new way of life, a lineage that will one day thrive in the icy waters of the Southern Ocean. Their presence is a sign of the future, a glimpse into the changes that are yet to come. We watch them with a sense of awe and admiration, a tribute to the enduring spirit of life. The light of the sun is fading now as it sinks below the horizon. The sky is a palette of oranges, pinks, and purples, a beautiful and ephemeral display. The day is coming to a close, but the journey is far from over. The light begins to slant at a sharper angle as we approach the estuary, where the river meets the sea. The sun, now a dying ember on the western horizon, casts long violet shadows across the mudflats of the Eocene Antarctic coast. The brine retreats, leaving behind a glistening expanse of silt and stone where the remnants of the day's heat pulse softly against the encroaching chill. We stand at the threshold of the sea and the land, feeling the dampness of the atmosphere cling to our skin, a humid weight that carries the scent of salt and decaying kelp. Small, scurrying forms emerge from the shelter of the driftwood, their tiny claws clicking against the pebbles as they forage in the twilight. These are the early mammals of this southern realm, furred survivors navigating a landscape that is both lush and precarious, They move with a quiet purpose, their whiskers twitching at every change in the breeze, sensing the approach of the long polar night. The cadence of the surf remains a constant companion, a low rolling thrum that vibrates through the soles of our feet. To our left, the forest of southern beech and podocarps stands as a dark, jagged wall against the fading sky. The trees are tall and stately, their branches draped in thick curtains of moss that sway like ghostly hair in the rising wind. We can hear the creak of timber, a slow and weary noise that speaks of centuries spent enduring the gales of the Southern Ocean. There is a profound sense of age here, a feeling that the earth itself is breathing in a slow, measured tempo. As the light fails, the first stars begin to pierce the deepening indigo of the heavens, flickering with a cold, steady brilliance. The atmosphere is remarkably clear, devoid of the haze of modern ages, allowing the celestial map to reveal itself in breathtaking detail. We look up, seeing constellations that have long since shifted, their patterns unfamiliar yet strangely comforting in their permanence. The landscape feels smaller under this immense canopy of light, a fragile sliver of life between the sea and the stars. Down by the edge of the tide, the liquid takes on a faint, ethereal glow, as millions of microscopic organisms react to the movement of the waves. This bioluminescence creates a ribbon of pale blue fire that traces the curve of the beach, illuminating the wet sand with a ghostly radiance. It is a silent display of natural wonder, a reminder of the hidden life that thrives in the depths of the brine. We watch as the foam breaks, scattering sparks of light across the shore like fallen stars. We move closer to the forest edge, where the temperature drops a few degrees, the warmth of the day replaced by a crisp, invigorating cold. The smell of the woods is different now, a mixture of damp earth, resinous sap, and the sweet, heavy fragrance of night-blooming flowers. These pale blossoms open their petals to the moon, seeking the attention of nocturnal insects that hum through the shadows. Their presence is a delicate counterpoint to the rugged strength of the beech trees. Deep within the undergrowth, we hear the call of a flightless bird, a series of low, booming notes that echo through the timber. It is a lonely sound, one that carries across the distance, to find a mate or warn a rival, a signal of life in the deepening murk. We stand still, listening as the call is answered from far away, the two voices weaving a sonic tapestry that defines the boundaries of this primordial world. The silence that follows is even more profound, filled only with the rustle of leaves. Our path leads us toward a sheltered cove where the cliffs rise like dark sentinels to protect the shore from the open sea. The rocks are weathered and smooth, carved into strange flowing shapes by the relentless action of the current over millions of years. We find a place to rest on a flat stone, the surface still holding a trace of the afternoon's sun. From here, we can see the entire arc of the bay, a silver crescent under the rising moon. A group of giant penguins, their feathers sleek and dark, huddled together near the base of the cliffs. They are resting after a day of hunting in the rich coastal waters, their bodies close to conserve warmth against the night air. Their quiet chirps and whistles are the only sounds they make, a gentle communication that reinforces the bonds of the colony. They represent a lineage that will endure for epochs, adapting to the coming ice with a resilience that is truly remarkable. The tide shifts, moving back toward the land with a slow and inevitable force, the surf creeping higher up the beach with every pulse. The blue fire of the bioluminescence grows brighter as the waves gain strength, a shimmering border that defines the meeting of the elements. We feel the spray of the brine on our faces, a fine, cool mist that tastes of the deep ocean and the mysteries it holds. The landscape is in a state of constant flux, never truly at rest, yet always balanced. Above us, the aurora australis begins to flicker, a curtain of emerald and violet light dancing across the southern sky. It moves with a fluid, hypnotic grace, its colors shifting and blending in a silent symphony of light. This celestial display casts a faint, shimmering glow over the forest and the sea, turning the world into a realm of dreams and shadows. We watch in awe, feeling the weight of time and the vastness of the universe pressing down upon us. The wind carries the scent of wood smoke from a distant volcanic vent, a reminder of the tectonic forces that shape this continent. Far to the south, the peaks of the Transantarctic mountains are silhouetted against the auroral glow, their snowy caps gleaming like silver. This is a land of extremes where life clings to the edges of a volatile and changing world. Yet in this moment there is only peace, a quietude that permeates every stone and every leaf. We notice a small stream trickling down from the forested hills, its flow clear and cold as it joins the sea. The murmur of the stream is a delicate, silver thread of sound, weaving through the deeper notes of the surf. We follow the bank for a short distance, seeing the reflections of the stars dancing on the surface of the moving liquid. It is a journey within a journey, a path that leads deeper into the heart of this ancient, green Antarctica. The moss beneath our feet is thick and springy, a lush carpet that cushions our steps and muffles the sound of our passage. We are moving away from the shore now, entering the cathedral-like stillness of the interior forest. The canopy above is so dense that only the brightest stars can peek through the gaps in the leaves, creating a dappled pattern of light on the ground. The atmosphere here is still and weighted, a sanctuary of green and brown. We find a hollow at the base of a massive notophagus tree, its roots twisting like petrified snakes into the earth. This is a place of absolute stillness, where the noise of the ocean is reduced to a distant rhythmic sigh. We lean against the rough bark, feeling the strength of the trees supporting us, a living connection to the deep past. The shadows here are deep and velvety, inviting us to close our eyes and simply listen to the breath of the forest. The night is a time of renewal and growth, a period of quiet preparation for the return of the sun. In the darkness, the roots of the trees draw moisture from the soil, and the fungi in the leaf litter continue their tireless work of decomposition. The ecosystem is never truly asleep, but its pace has slowed to a meditative crawl. We feel ourselves slipping into this same measure, our thoughts becoming as slow and drifting as the mountain mist. As we rest, we imagine the long history of this place, the countless seasons that have passed over these shores. We think of the dinosaurs that once walked these same paths, and the ice that will one day bury this forest in a frozen tomb. But for now, the world is green and vibrant, a testament to the enduring power of life. The aurora continues its dance overhead, a silent guardian of the southern night. The chill of the polar evening deepens, turning the moisture in the atmosphere into a fine, sparkling frost that coats the ferns. Each frond is outlined in silver, a delicate filigree that catches the light of the moon. The forest has become a palace of crystal and shadow, a place of haunting beauty that exists only in the quiet hours. We are witnesses to a world that will soon be lost to time, a fleeting moment in the grand scale of the geological era. Our journey through this twilight realm is coming to a close, but the sense of wonder remains as strong as ever. We have walked the shores of a vanished continent and felt the pulse of a forest that no longer exists. The connection we feel to this landscape is profound, a reminder that we are part of the same story, the same cycle of life. The darkness is not a void, but a space filled with the memories of the earth. The last of the evening birds falls silent, and the wind drops to a mere whisper among the highest branches. The world is ready for its deepest rest, a slumber that will last until the first light of dawn touches the eastern peaks. We remain in our sheltered hollow, wrapped in the stillness and the scent of the primordial woods. The transition to the deep night is complete, and the forest waits in patient silence for the turning of the wheel. The stars above are sharp, piercing the indigo canopy with a clarity that only the polar latitudes can offer. We watch as unfamiliar constellations wheel slowly across the zenith, markers of a time long before human eyes would ever look upward. The chill is more pronounced now, a dry, biting cold that speaks of the coming season. Yet the heart of the forest remains protected. Below the frozen crust of the topsoil, the roots of the southern beech pulse with a slow subterranean life, waiting out the shadows. This landscape, once a green bridge between continents, is beginning its long, slow drift into the deep sleep of the winter months. The moisture in the atmosphere has turned to a delicate, powdery snow, dusting the broad leaves of the deciduous trees. It settles in the crevices of the bark, creating a map of white lines against the dark, textured wood. We can hear the faint, crystalline tinkling of ice forming on the edges of the slow-moving stream, a delicate chime in the stillness. In a hollowed-out log, a small, furry mammal, no larger than a badger, curls into a tight ball to conserve its warmth. Its breath forms a tiny cloud of mist that vanishes almost instantly in the cool, still atmosphere. This creature is a hardy survivor, a testament to the resilience of life in an environment that experiences months of total darkness. It dreams of the grubs and oily seeds it gathered during the long, sun-drenched days of the southern summer. A few yards away, a group of small bipedal dinosaurs, their bodies covered in a thick layer of insulating proto-feathers, huddled together for warmth. Their large eyes, evolved for seeing in the dim twilight, are closed now, their heads tucked under their feathered arms. They are the silent inhabitants of this polar realm, masters of an ecosystem that defies the modern imagination. The forest provides them with shelter and a modicum of warmth, a sanctuary against the encroaching frost. The wind, when it comes, is a mere sigh that barely stirs the highest branches of the araucaria trees. It carries the scent of distant volcanoes and the sharp, clean aroma of the Southern Ocean. This is the breath of a continent that is still connected to the rest of the globe, a place of migration and movement. But for tonight, everything is stationary, held in the grip of a peaceful, frozen moment. We look toward the horizon, where the faint glow of the aurora australis continues to shimmer in shades of emerald and violet. It reflects off the surface of a high mountain lake, creating a double image of celestial fire. The lake is still, its depths holding the heat of the earth, a dark mirror for the wonders of the sky. We feel a sense of profound peace here, a connection to the cycles of the planet that transcend human time. The geological story of this place is written in the layers of mud and stone beneath our feet, a record of rising and falling temperatures. We are standing in a period of transition, a time when the globe was warm and the poles were lush with life. But the seeds of change are already present in the cooling atmosphere and the shifting currents of the sea. The forest is a living museum, a collection of species that have adapted to the unique challenges of the high latitudes. As the night deepens, the silence becomes even more absolute, a weighted presence that wraps around us like a blanket. The only movement is the slow, rhythmic falling of snow, each flake adding to the quiet transformation of the forest floor. The ferns are being buried under a layer of white, their green fronds disappearing from view. It is a process of erasure and preservation, a way for the landscape to protect its treasures until the return of the sun. We find ourselves drifting into a state of meditative calm, our own breath syncing with the slow pulse of the trees. The worries of the modern world feel impossibly distant, replaced by the simple, enduring reality of the prehistoric night. There is no urgency here, no need to move or act, only the requirement to exist and observe. The forest asks nothing of us but our presence and our respect. In the distance, a massive glacier, still in its infancy, groans as it moves a fraction of an inch down a mountain valley. It is a low, vibrating note that we feel in our chests more than we hear with our ears. This is the voice of the future, a harbinger of the ice that will eventually claim this entire continent. But that future is millions of years away, a distant memory that has yet to be formed. For now, the southern beech and the ginkgo trees stand tall, their branches interlaced in a protective canopy. They have weathered countless winters like this one, their life cycles tuned to the long periods of light and shadow. They are the true masters of the Antarctic, the architects of an ecosystem that flourished for an eternity. We lean back against the trunk of a massive podocarp, feeling the solid, unyielding strength of the wood. The scent of the damp earth and the rotting leaf litter is rich and complex, a reminder of the constant renewal of life. Even in the depths of winter, the processes of decomposition and growth continue at a microscopic level. The fungi in the soil are active, breaking down the fallen wood and preparing the nutrients for the spring. It is a hidden, tireless labor that ensures the survival of the forest for generations to come. We watch as a single large owl-like bird glides silently through the trees, its wings outstretched to catch the faint thermal currents. It is a ghost of the forest, a silent hunter that moves through the shadows with effortless grace. Its presence is a reminder that the ecosystem is still alive, even in its most quiet hours. The bird disappears into the gloom, leaving us alone once again with the stars and the snow. The atmosphere is so clear that we can see the craters on the moon and the distant, colorful nebulae of the Milky Way. It is a view that is rarely seen in our modern, light-polluted world, a reminder of the vastness of the universe. We feel small and insignificant in the face of such immensity, yet we also feel a part of it. We are made of the same stardust that fuels the sun and the same elements that form the rocks beneath us. The transition to the deepest part of the night is almost imperceptible, a gradual deepening of the shadows and a slight lowering of the temperature. The frost on the ferns has grown thicker, forming intricate patterns that look like frozen lace. Each crystal is a unique work of art, a fleeting masterpiece created by the cold and the moisture. The forest has become a gallery of ice and shadow, a place of haunting beauty. We close our eyes for a moment, allowing the sounds of the night to wash over us. We hear the faint creak of a branch, the distant murmur of the stream, and the soft hiss of the falling snow. These are the sounds of a world at rest, a landscape that is content to wait in the darkness. We feel a sense of deep, restful slumber pulling at our own consciousness, inviting us to join the forest in its sleep. The memory of this place will stay with us, a reminder of a time when the Earth was a different world. We have walked through the forests of Antarctica and seen the wonders of a vanished era. We have felt the pulse of the primordial Earth and breathed the atmosphere of a prehistoric night. The connection we have forged with this landscape is eternal, a thread that links us to the deep past. As the first hint of a very distant dawn begins to touch the highest peaks of the Transantarctic Mountains, we prepare to leave this twilight realm. The light is a pale, ethereal blue, a soft glow that slowly spreads across the horizon. It is not yet the sun, but a promise of its return, a sign that the long night will eventually end. The forest remains still, its inhabitants still tucked away in their burrows and nests. We take one last look at the massive Notophagus tree that has been our shelter, its roots deep in the soil of a continent that will one day be buried in ice. We feel a sense of gratitude for the journey we have taken and the things we have seen. The story of the Antarctic forest is a story of resilience and beauty, a testament to the enduring power of life. We leave the forest as we found it, a place of peace and silence, waiting for the turning of the wheel. The journey through time is a slow and measured path, a walk through the layers of history and the memories of the Earth. We move away from the forest, our footsteps silent on the snow-covered ground as we return to the present day. But the spirit of the prehistoric night remains with us, a quiet hum in the back of our minds. The world is a place of wonder and mystery, and we are its fortunate witnesses. Thank you for wandering through deep time with me tonight. Until next time, on Forgotten Habitats, sleep well.